Hello leaders, Patrick Jinks here, leadership and strategy coach and president of the Jinks Perspective. I recently focused one of my podcast episodes on this topic, and I thought I would share an abbreviated version of it here on the YouTube channel since it's relevant to so many. It's our updated 5D model for leading diversity, equity, and inclusion work in our organizations. Let's cue it up. Before we get going, I'd like to pause for a moment and encourage you to check out our podcast called The Leadership Window. You can subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite platforms, Google, Spotify, Apple, Pandora, Amazon. They're on all of them. Just go to our website at jinksperspective.com and click on the podcast button. You can listen and download episodes from right there within the website, or as I said, you can subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform. And if you're a leader in the social sector, trust me, you owe it to yourself to check out this podcast. Okay, let's get to work. In episode 66 on this channel, I covered what I called the 3D leadership model for leading diversity, equity, and inclusion work in your organization. In another wonderful conversation with Molly Metz, who is the CEO of the Mary Black Foundation in Spartanburg, here in my home state of South Carolina, we realized together that an update was needed. The Mary Black Foundation is an organization I frequently hold up as someone who is actually modeling this work and not just talking about it, hence the update. As a reminder, I'm not an expert in diversity, equity, and inclusion. There are many professional consultants, speakers, researchers, and practitioners who specialize in this area. But because so many of the clients I work with have committed to adding DEI work to their portfolios, I thought this helpful framework for making it authentic and meaningful should be shared. So here we go. The first D in the 5D model is define. The terms equity, equality, diversity, and inclusion are being used a great deal these days, and appropriately so. But the problem is that not everyone is still on the same page in terms of what they actually mean. And before your organization can truly get everyone on the same page in driving diversity, equity, and inclusion, you have to get everyone on the same page about what the terms actually even mean. And what do they mean for your organization specifically? Start by defining the terms. The second D stands for data. What does your data tell you about diversity, equity, and inclusion in your organization's work universe? For example, is it your staff that's not truly diverse? Or what about the composition of your board? What does the data tell you about the clients that you serve? The Mary Black Foundation, for example, has data that clearly shows a racial achievement gap in education. It's inarguable. What does your organization's data say? Armed with good data, you are ready for the third D, direction. In other words, what is the strategic direction your organization will take to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion based on the data? Specifically, where does your organization need to focus? Now, this is where the enhancement to the model comes in. Thanks again to Molly Talbot Metz for bringing these to light both in word and deed. The fourth D is doing. No offense to anyone, but I'm seeing a lot of organizations add DEI language to their values statements and their strategic plans, and it ends there. They're simply saying it. They are not all doing it. And once you've set direction, just like anything else in your organization, intentional action is required. At this point, the doing becomes more important than the saying. The saying has value, but it's empty without the doing. And finally, the fifth D, demonstrating. How can we show and help others achieve meaningful work in this arena? When we get to the place that our doing is producing results, we're ready to share our practices with other leaders and organizations. How do we turn the preaching into teaching? Clearly, this model is not designed to get into the technical or the social aspects of this work. It is designed to simply encourage you to put some structure to your intent. This clarity will help your staff, your board, your donors, and your clients understand what it really means to advance diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that is the Jinx perspective for this week, mixed in with a little bit of the Mary Black Foundation perspective. I hope it's helpful to you. If you would ever like to explore ways that the Jinx perspective can help you or your organization achieve greater clarity, simplicity, and alignment in your mission work, well, I hope you'll click the link that's in the video description below this video and schedule a free discovery call with me so that we can talk it through. I also hope that if you haven't already, you will click the subscribe button below to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and make sure that you click the bell icon below. That will notify you when we drop new episodes. And as always, I hope you'll share this with a friend or a colleague who might find it helpful. We'll see you here next time.